Dynamo Kyiv in blue for this occasion. Panathinaikos have switched to the white shirts. They do have the shamrock on the jerseys. A tribute to their pan-European roots. The match begins with Dynamo Kyiv attacking the goal to our left. And an early touch for Yuri Dimitrulin, who, as we mentioned, is filling in at left back for the suspended Vasyuk. They try to get something going early on. Vasil Kardash makes the run. Midfielder who joined the club in 1996. Kosovsky. Very tidy little left-sided midfielder. See the swarming Panathinaikos defenders. 5 at the back. And we expect they'll play it close to the vest early on. Kyiv trying to open up play. There's Holovko. The central defender back to Alexander Shovkovsky, the goalkeeper. Fedorov. Just underway here at the Olympijski Stadium in Kyiv. Kosovsky for Dynamo. Now Husin, the strong running central midfielder. Rebrov takes over. First real threat from the right. Shevchenko. And Husin in the middle. So too Kosovsky. The first chance of the game falling to Vitaly Kosovsky.
And Vanjik really reacting slow coming out of the goal. I think he misjudged that cross, but Dynamo Kyiv going with speed, and that's what they're known for. They're going outside, a lot of crosses as we see this cross here. Look at Vanjik coming out of the goal, a little bit late, got lucky on that one.
Almost looked as though the two players got in front of one another, Husin and Kosovsky. Josef Vanjik, as Janusz mentioned, the vastly experienced Polish international goalkeeper for Panathinaikos. All the success enjoyed by Panathinaikos in this campaign has come on home soil, not away from home. So they're trying to break new ground. And many of these players have never experienced temperatures as low as these. So they try to break through. Kyiv. Kostas Kyiv trying to force the first corner kick of the game. And he succeeds. Dimitrulin organizing everyone. Panathinaikos has made his way forward. The left fullback. Everybody well wrapped up here with good reason. Seeing the snow just on the fringe of the pitch. Volunteers did a marvelous job to clear it off the hours leading up to this game. Hasanovic, the Croatian, trying to flight it in. Couldn't get the accurate shot in. Husin back helping out the defense. Here's the Dynamo break. Wouldn't fall for Shevchenko. Panathinaikos. A little bit off balance, Andreas Panathinaikos. Well marked by Kosovsky. Early impressions, Janusz?
Well, obviously this game is gonna have to happen this way, that because of the pitch conditions, because of it's very cold, you're going to have to play a little bit more direct. I don't think you're going to see teams trying to put so many passes. It's really heavy. You can get tired. It's really cold as well. So I think, especially for Dynamo Kyiv, they're going to be using their speed, and they're going to try to go as direct as possible. For Panathinaikos, they're just going to have to sit back and see what Dynamo throws at them early on.
Yuri Dimitrulin is trying to strug it around. Kardash. Shevchenko there as well. On the turn of Kyiv to go forward. A little bit unusual to see him line up on the left. Looks as though, yes, Panathinaikos is playing on the right. So they've done a switch. Just where Dynamo can be so dangerous. Luzhny will join the attack from time to time, as he does here. And just push behind for the corner kick. The last touch from Yorios Alexopoulos. A driving run by the captain. So one early corner kick apiece with just over 4 minutes on the clock. This is the scene here in Kyiv, capital of the Ukraine, city of 4 million. Kosovsky, and it wouldn't quite fall for Rebrov. The dangerous attacker who has scored 3 goals in this competition already. And Vanjik happy to spot the ball. 0-0. Goal kick to be taken by Angelos Basinas, under 21 international. He's filling in for the suspended Gumas. Kosovsky, there's Hussein helping him out, and now space. Kardash, this could be an opening. Rebrov and Shevchenko in the middle. Not cleared away decisively. Finally by Basinas. Luzhny now. The Dynamo players trying to lay siege to the Panathinaikos goal.
Certainly Panathinaikos was a little bit disorganized this early on, especially in the central defense. As you just mentioned, Milojevic and Gumas are missing. They have to replace those holes, and it's been very tough so far.
It's a bit of a patchwork quilt of a Panathinaikos defense. And they may have to weather several early storms in the form of Shevchenko and Rebrov. Here's Kosovsky.
Well, Shevchenko and Rebrov, the dynamic duo for Dynamo, it's going to be tough to deal with them, even if Panathinaikos was at full strength. And even now, they're so fast, they understand each other very well. Not only do they play here, they also play together on the Ukrainian national team. And so are the 7 or 8 other players on this Dynamo Kyiv team. So they know each other very well, and this is going to be very difficult for Panathinaikos.
Dynamo Kyiv, mostly through their assistant coach, Alexei Mikhailichenko, have been talking all week long about the fate being in their own hands, and in many ways it is. They can win this game, and then their last match away to Racing Club de Lens, they will be home and dry. It's easier said than done, though. Kardash trying to dovetail with Shevchenko. Way on the volley by Holovko. Varziha battling gamely for the ball. Krzysztof Varziha, now 34 years of age. A man you know a lot about, Janusz.
Oh, what an incredible player. Some of his records are astonishing. 201 goals in 270 games. This is just incredible stats. 3 times the goal scorer of the year in Greece. And one of those players that just plays well for his club, has been with the team for so many years, and that's why he's a captain.
Shevchenko did remarkably well. Katskevich, and a good-looking ball. Hussein made the run into the center. Way finally by Lagonikakis. Chase on for Varziha. And Shavkovsky very quickly on his line. Now Luzhny. He enjoys those upfield gallops. Perhaps why he's nicknamed the Horse. Referee keeps the advantage with Dynamo Kyiv. Hussein. Of course, many people will argue that this is really the Ukrainian national team in disguise. That was the case back in the mid-70s and mid-80s with the old USSR. Leaned heavily on Dynamo Kyiv for resources. Kosovsky. Shevchenko trying to keep it in. And a joust that time with Alexopoulos. And the fans hoping that the fare on the field will warm them up tonight as they grow used to weather conditions such as these in this part of the world. Makes life decidedly awkward for the opposition.
Oh, it certainly does. It's very cold in the stands, but I'm sure it's very hot on the pitch right now. These players obviously don't feel the cold right now. They started playing a little bit. The way they're moving, I don't think it's going to bother them.
Kardash. Kosovsky. Good skill that time by Nikos Liberopoulos. The Greek international played in recent games against Slovenia and Georgia. Varziha leads the line so well. 3 defenders with him and still able to carve out the throw.
Liberopoulos, he was the man in the first match they played, scored a goal at many occasions where he could score 2 or 3 goals in the first game. So far we haven't seen him, but we really haven't seen Panathinaikos yet. They're sort of coming out of their shell right now.
Moving toward the 10th minute of the game. Lagonikakis. Varziha trying to get it down toward Konstantinidis, who was there as well. Here's Asanovic, who patrols the center of midfield. Aljosa Asanovic, key member of the Croatian World Cup team this past summer. Vasilis Daniel is the man in charge of Panathinaikos. He's been in that position since the summer of 1997. 0-0 is the score here at the Olympijski Stadium in Kyiv. Dynamo Kyiv against Panathinaikos. What is a pivotal match in the Champions League Group E. Along with Janusz Mihalik, I'm Derek Ray. Nice to have you with us here on ESPN. Kyiv. Vokolos is the big man in the middle of the defense, playing as the sweeper. And this is the Champions League. Don't forget about Dutch football coming your way on Monday here on ESPN. The leaders in the Dutch First Division, Feyenoord, will take part in a derby against Sparta. Check your local listings. Bit of a chase across for Holovko, partnered by Fedorov tonight. Yuri Dimitrulin. Kosovsky. Dimitrulin in that advanced position, unusually for him. Rebrov. Free kick. Tricky little player, Serhiy Rebrov. 1996 Ukrainian Player of the Year. And the ball finally out for the throw to be taken by Panathinaikos. Dynamo quick to get it back. Shevchenko. Rebrov just beside him. Stratos Apostolakis was the man who stroked it away. The veteran, now 34 years of age, joined in 1990 from Olympiacos. He's played 96 times for the Greek national team. Used these days as a holding man in midfield. Used to be thought of as a right fullback. There's Kyiv. Asanovic. Tremendous atmosphere here in Kyiv. A city that was rebuilt in the 1950s after the damage done during the Second World War. Panathinaikos keeping it in for Panathinaikos. Shavkovsky between the posts. Vokolos trying to give Kyiv a touch. Shevchenko closing him down. Andriy Shevchenko heavily linked with AC Milan at the moment. Most people here are resigned to losing him at some point in the next few months. Flashing drive. Bassinas made his way forward. Panathinaikos. We've seen a lot of the ball early on. Way by Holovko. Kosovsky and Dimitrulin. Think about these Dynamo players, Janusz, because they know each other so well. Most of them have grown up within the system.
Well, certainly, and this is a team that with a lot of young players, but you can't tell by looking at them. I mean, they've obviously have played in the Champions League last year. Great results, beating Barcelona at home 3-0 and away in Barcelona 4-0. So these players, even though they're young, they obviously have a lot of experience already, and it's showing. This is a great team, and Panathinaikos realizes that. Maybe that's why the tactics so far, they're trying to keep possession, but Dynamo Kyiv's putting a lot of pressure early on.
They've always treated football as a science here in Kyiv. In fact, back in the mid-80s, Professor Anatoly Zelentsov used to work with Valery Lobanovsky to try to create what he described as the science of football. Many people thought the players at that time resembled robots. They seemed to be fitter and quicker than everyone else. No cross with too much on it. Kosovsky chiseling away at Panathinaikos. Vokolos with the clearance.
Going back to what you were saying, I think Dynamo Kyiv are much better players as they were in the past. As you said, sometimes the Russian system was to keep the ball and go on counters. I think they have a lot more flair to them right now, as we see Rebrov and Shevchenko. You know, those are the players that are all the teams in Europe are chasing them. You mentioned Shevchenko going possibly to Milan last year. I mean, I'm still surprised that this team is still intact. Shevchenko offered over $20 million by Juventus. Lazio was going after Rebrov. So I think, you know, it's really a tribute to this team and to this system.
There's Rebrov. Quite difficult to dispossess. Look at the numbers back for Panathinaikos. Making it all the more awkward to launch effective counterattacks. Panathinaikos just scraping it into the path of Vokolos. There's Holovko. Fedorov beside him. Rare start for Serhii Fedorov. Mainly because of the availability of Vasychuk. Here's Luzhny on the gallop again. The captain. But no takers in the middle. It's what he does so well, though. Oleg Luzhny. Off the corner flag it came. Shevchenko. Well read by Yorios Alexopoulos.
As we see here, Luzhny very active, going up and down, really trying to take a shot. Nobody was there at the far post, but this is a great start so far, and that right side of Dynamo Kyiv is working very well. Luzhny not afraid to go up and down, and that's what's going to take maybe on this heavy pitch. An individual effort on somebody's part to go forward, take people on. It's really difficult to defend on a heavy pitch like that.
Quiet word from referee Helmut Krug with Aljosa Asanovic, 32 years of age. A man of many clubs. Liberopoulos, corner kick with Hussein back helping out Dimitrulin. So 16 minutes on the clock. It's Dynamo Kyiv 0, Panathinaikos 0. It's match day 5 in the Champions League. And these two clubs trying to keep pace with Racing Club de Lens, the French champions who beat Arsenal earlier 1-0 in London. Asanovic will be entrusted with the corner kick. Vokolos is inside the penalty area. Good looking corner by Asanovic. Got a second bite of the cherry here. And no one in position to finish it off. There's the sweeping counter-attack led by Kardash. Rebrov's final pass left much to be desired. Bassinas tries to switch it out to the flank. Varjiha. And Shovkovsky says that's mine. Entertaining stuff in the opening 17 minutes here. Vasilis Daniel and his Panathinaikos coaching staff bundled up with several layers there. That's something they're accustomed to in the course of the Greek season. As we said, he was warning his players before this that this would be unlike anything they had ever experienced before. Not so for Lobanovsky and company.
Well, certainly they're used to these temperatures. For Greeks, obviously, the coach is stressing that this is going to be a little bit different. It never gets this cold in Greece. But I think players realize that, you have to play under certain conditions. So it could be the same set for Dynamo Kyiv. They went to Greece in the middle of the summer.
Now Kosovsky, can he judge the spin of the ball? Well, there's the answer. And the goal kick it is for the experienced Vanjik. Now has dual nationality. He was born in Poland, but became a Greek citizen in July of this year. Again letting Leonidas Vokolos take the goal kick. Vokolos was the captain of the Panionios team that upset Panathinaikos in the Greek Cup final last season. Decided if they couldn't beat them, then they might as well have him join them. There's Vokolos called into action, conceding the corner kick. Shovkovsky just trying to stay warm. Shevchenko inside the penalty area. Rebrov is there as well. And it will be Kosovsky to take it. Deafening noise being generated by this huge crowd here in Kyiv. Kosovsky, up goes Vokolos. Dimitrulin alertly seeing that Kosovsky was available again. Bassinas that time got a hand to the ball. And almost everyone back for Panathinaikos. Holovko using Luzhny. Play for the old Soviet Union, Oleg Luzhny, before Ukraine got its independence. There's the flashing header. Rebrov inside the penalty area. Got a well-marshaled Panathinaikos defense.
Well, certainly this shot couldn't surprise Vanjik as we see it here. Almost 18 yards away. A very good try, but Vanjik had it all the way.
0-0 is the score with almost 20 minutes on the clock. I'm Derek Ray. Janusz Mihalik is alongside on a bitterly cold evening here in Kyiv. The stakes are high. It's match day 5 in the UEFA Champions League. The losing team would certainly face an uphill struggle to qualify. It's Krasovsky, a little too obvious, and Vanchik without much difficulty able to pull it in. A note for viewers in Latin America, join us for Football Day España on Saturday, our live coverage. Barcelona will take on Atletico Madrid. Barca having lost last week in the Spanish League to Mallorca, the leaders. Check your local listings for our coverage of football from Spain. Shevchenko trying to burrow his way past Alexopoulos. The question is, how long can Shevchenko stay with his club? Still only 22, scored 5 times in the Champions League last season and twice already in this campaign.
Well, certainly, as you said, AC Milan's after him and probably 20 or 30 other clubs. Everybody would like to have a young player like that. But I think he stated, I read one of the articles, that he wanted to stay with Dynamo Kyiv. The atmosphere was great. This is a very well-organized club. And obviously, every time they play in the Champions League, you know, the money is good for them. And a lot of times in these Russian teams, you see that players are leaving because of the money. Not the case here, because Dynamo Kyiv is very successful on the European scene.
He will be going to Italy in December to play for the rest of the world against the Italian national team as part of the centenary celebrations, the Italian Football Federation. And who knows if that will be only the beginning of an Italian career for Andriy Shevchenko. Kyiv. As though he was tripped, yes. Referee Helmut Krug steps in. Kostas Kyiv, 22 years of age, represented Greece at under-21 level. You see the foul committed by Kardash. Marjiha. Hasanovic is playing for the free kick, looking optimistically at the German referee. Here comes Shevchenko. Trying to go it alone up the middle, or switching it. And safely through to Josef Vanchik. So versatile, Andriy Shevchenko. And the two of them, Shevchenko and Rebrov, complement one another perfectly. Aljosa Hasanovic, with Kyiv beside. Not a bad ball, and Liberopoulos hitting it on the volley, a full-blooded effort. I think he feels that he might have done better. Nikos Liberopoulos, a little too straight to trouble Shavkovsky.
Well, certainly, as we see this great cross, a very difficult shot, and I think he should have felt lucky that he got it on target. Seeing that again, I think he felt that he could have done better, but this was really the first chance for Panathinaikos.
Indeed it was, following the way of Nikos Liberopoulos, who scored for Greece in a recent 3-0 victory over Georgia. Just hacked behind by the sweeper Vokolos. Corner kick. The tension is palpable out there. 0-0. Dynamo Kyiv and Panathinaikos. Dynamo with a slight edge at corner kicks now. Osowski with the low effort then. Vokolos storming out of defense. Dimitrulin. Olovko. As Luzhny just gets it away in the nick of time. The pressure coming from Kostas Konstantinidis. The referee spotting the infringement. These foggy conditions persist here in Kyiv. Him off Kyiv last of all that time, with Luzhny again in his favorite position. Wide on the right. Vokolos getting everyone organised. Luzhny. Kandash is there. Olofko. There's Hussein, very strong in the air, makes those late ghosting runs. Can prove to be troublesome for opposing defenders. And finally the free kick. Awarded by Helmut Krug. Shevchenko being watched mostly by Alexopoulos in this game, but that of course could change. Vokolos, free kick for Panathinaikos. Trickles harmlessly out of play. Liberopoulos, who had that tremendous drive a couple of minutes ago, representing the best Panathinaikos effort so far.
And certainly Liberopoulos with a great first game. I mentioned that early, but obviously he was the player that Dynamo Kyiv had the most problems with in the first game. A lot of chances, 2 or 3 chances in the first half in the first game where he could have put Panathinaikos ahead. He finally did score a goal in the second half. He had a great game, and he's going to have to do the same today.
Hussein was fouled by Kostas Konstantinidis. Hatskevich, a man from Belarus, who knows, might very well be joined by his fellow countryman Valentin Bialkevich before all is said and done. He's on the bench. A tidy job by the Panathinaikos defense. Liberopoulos. A missed kick by Dimitrulin. Olofko's there to cover. These defenders know each other so well. Olofko, Luzhny, Dimitrulin. Not only here with Dynamo Kyiv, but also for the Ukrainian national team.
They certainly do, and they know how to cover for themselves. You can tell that they're probably not even talking all that much, although communication is very important during the game. But they know how to cover. It's the same system here with Dynamo Kyiv as it is with the Ukrainian national team. So that's certainly a plus for them.
2 victories will see Dynamo Kyiv through. This match against Pana, and the final match at the Racing Club de Lens. Shavkovsky just biding his time. Dynamo Kyiv haven't had any league matches this month to prepare for Champions League battle. November has seen the league give way to the Ukrainian Cup. They did win their quarter-final match last week against Metalist Kharkiv by 3-0. Rambrov scoring twice. Referee intervenes. Hatskevich, the illegal bit of play. Apostolakis is limping back up onto his feet.
Certainly leg tackle here. I think he got stepped on a little bit. It probably stings, especially in this weather when it's very cold.
Liberopoulos was the man fouled. Apostolakis beside. Here's Shevchenko. Play on, says the referee. He gets it back. Shevchenko. Well, all credit to the defenders who were out of position initially, but were very quick to get back and cover because Shevchenko has tremendous pace.
Certainly, and once again, they're coming on that right side. They certainly seem to be content with the right side. As we see it here, Shevchenko going really playing 1-2 here on the outside. Gets hit a little bit here, as we see this foul before, but on that last play, Shevchenko with a little bit of a missed touch, and that's why he wasn't able to pull the trigger.
A couple of players down. Vokolos is one of them. Basinas the other. Angelos Basinas, a 22-year-old defender, drafted in for this match because of injuries and suspensions. This doesn't look good for Basinas. Both he and Vokolos extremely swift to get back and close down Shevchenko moments ago.
Oh, certainly, once again, we see this chance by Shevchenko. As you see it there, his first touch failed him a little bit. If he could have had a better touch, he certainly would be able to pull the trigger.
And from the Basinas point of view, of course, the injuries feel even worse in conditions such as these. the biting weather around you. We'll see whether he can return.
It's one of the few cases where you really want to be moving at all times. A lot of times players will take some breaks during the game, but certainly not in those conditions. The more you run, the better it is for you.
Yuri Dimitrulin, very efficient left-sided defender. Vokolos, who has recovered from his injury, heading it away. Far back, Shevchenko moved to pick up the ball then. Now Luzhny having a go. Half-hit shot, really. Almost fell for Hussein, who was waiting on the edge of the penalty area. So the early honours going to Dynamo Kyiv, no doubt about that. They have dictated the terms, notwithstanding the one Liberopoulos chance.
Certainly, and I think the only problem with Dynamo Kyiv so far is they're becoming a little bit predictable with going on the right side. Even though it has been working for them pretty well, I think they need to change the point of attack a little bit. You need to go side to side, maybe with some penetration through the middle. But so far, Panathinaikos, even though they see them coming on the right side, have not been able really to stop them there.
0-0 is the score here. The Olympijski Stadium here in Kyiv. Derek Ray, Janusz Mihalik here on ESPN. This match, of course, brings back memories of the 1995-96 Champions League campaign. We watch this foul again. A little nudge by Kosovsky on Apostolakis. They met in the 95-96 competition. Dynamo Kyiv managed a 1-0 victory, but that was annulled after it was found that Dynamo had tried to bribe the Spanish referee with the gift of a fur coat. It's a real bitter pill for them to swallow.
Well, certainly, that's why there's a lot of blood between those two teams, and I think it becomes even more important for Dynamo Kyiv to get a good result here.
Just over 13 minutes left in the first half. It's still 0-0. This is the UEFA Champions League Group E. Final home game for Dynamo Kyiv. Don't forget about Football Day España. For our viewers in Latin America, the second part of our double bill this weekend. We'll travel to Basque Country for Athletic Bilbao against the shock leaders Mallorca. It's right here on ESPN. Asanovic, Zlagonikakis theatrically taking the fall. Kosovsky was the man who made the challenge. And the referee, I think, might take action against Vitaly Kosovsky here. He does indeed go in the book.
Well, certainly a bad tackle. Could have been a smart foul, really. As we see, Zlagonikakis could have gone through. Would have been a dangerous situation.
Now let's see what Panathinaikos can conjure up. Zlagonikakis is inside the penalty area. Asanovic. A good safe catch from Alexander Shovkovsky. Nil-nil is the score. Panathinaikos trying to make inroads. Zlagonikakis will take the throw. One home game to come for Panathinaikos after this against Arsenal, as we saw earlier. Eliminated, surprisingly. A play by the veteran Apostolakis. Asanovic. Here's Nikos Liberopoulos. And a speculative drive, a good one too. Oh, Shovkovsky had to be alert. Corner kick.
Certainly great save by Shovkovsky. It's very difficult in those conditions. You're a little bit cold. He hasn't had much to do. Look at him here. Obviously, he can strike the ball with both feet. That's why he's so dangerous.
There's confirmation of the Kosovsky yellow card of a couple of minutes ago. His first of this competition. So no question of a suspension. Shevchenko and Luzhny are on the bubble. So if they get yellow carded, they would miss the final match. The group phase. And cat and mouse inside the penalty area. Hussein watching Vokolos. Just stab it away. Dimitrulin got the last touch. Just over 10 minutes to go in the first half. Kyiv with the throw for Panathinaikos. Hasanovic. Polovko with Kardash. Polovko, the best ball out of defense. Here's Andreas Lagonikakis, and a stunning goal for Panathinaikos. Oh, superbly finished by the defender, Andreas Lagonikakis. And would you believe it, with 10 minutes to go in the first half, it's Dynamo Kyiv 0, Panathinaikos 1.
And what a great goal by Lagonikakis. Similar situation to the one that we saw 5 minutes ago where Liberopoulos had a similar shot. This time Lagonikakis puts the ball down. It skips a little bit in front of the goalkeeper. Look at this cross. Dynamo Kyiv caught napping a little bit. Two players in the center of the field really marking nobody. And look at this finish.
Right out of the top drawer by Andreas Lagonikakis. His first goal in the Champions League this season. Beautifully placed. Meanwhile, action at the other end. Vokolos clearing it behind for the corner kick. There's confirmation of the score. And what a dream scoreline it is for Panathinaikos. A team that's always been associated with the elite of Greek football. And there's the flashing header. Almost the perfect riposte from Dynamo Kyiv. Lagonikakis, the man who scored moments ago, but this was almost danger time for the visitors.
Certainly a great chance to tie this game up. Panathinaikos has to be aware that they went ahead 1-0, but there's still plenty of time. And right now we saw 2 or 3 players being completely free in front of Vanji.
Shevchenko that time with a header, wasn't picked up. There he is again. Rembrov has been quieter than he normally would be at this sort of level. And credit to the Panathinaikos defenders for shutting him down. But a long way to go.
It certainly is. And Panathinaikos, they have to be happy with the lead. They haven't shown us much. Obviously, they're playing away. Their tactic is to weather the storm at first. I think they've done that initially. Now they went ahead 1-0. Just amazing how unbalanced this Dynamo Kyiv defense was on that goal. We saw 2 players being caught ball watching.
Luzhny again, almost acting as a right winger. So carve out the corner kick at another injured player. Well, they have been in the wars, these Panathinaikos defenders, this first half so far. The trainer forced into action once again. It's the second time we've seen the stretcher put to use in this first half. Kyiv there off balance. He was the man who took the fall.
Right, and let's see if we can pick out what's happening here. I think it was just one of those knee-to-knee situations.
And the big defender's up again for the corner kick. Kosovsky, naturally left-footed. You can see they're trying to get it onto his left peg. On the way back to Dimitrulin. Kosovsky still on that right midfield position. Luzhny offering dynamic support. Katskevich right in the middle, trying to get his head to it. Kyiv has returned.
We see Vanjik on the end of it catching this ball. Another very difficult situation for Panathinaikos. Once again, the ball's coming from the right side, and we see some mismatches in the center of the penalty area.
You should remember, this is a Panathinaikos side with pedigree. Only 2 seasons ago, they reached the semi-finals of the Champions League. Ousted by Ajax. Their nemesis, really, because Panathinaikos are the only Greek team to have made it to a European Cup final. That was back in 1971. And the team that beat them in the final, of course, were Ajax. 2-0 at Wembley Stadium. There's the driving Hussein. Almost 40 minutes have elapsed here at the Olympijski Stadium in Kyiv. Kosovsky, hanging ball, no one available. Shevchenko in a battle with Alexopoulos. And the decision goes the way of Panathinaikos. And the Greek flag flying proudly here at the moment. Thanks to that goal by Lagonikakis that sent shockwaves around the stadium. There are around 100 Greek fans in attendance who traveled with the party.
It's probably one trip that you don't want to make in these conditions. You have to give a lot of credit to these fans traveling all this distance and being here, as we see a lot of snow in the stands. I guess it took him a lot of time to clear some snow. There was obviously snowstorm just a few days before this match. But as we see it here, and as you said it, the pitch looks very good.
This under soil heating really is a must. This part of Europe, many parts of Europe nowadays. Kyiv, followed all the way by Kyiv. Sonovic trying to line it up. Luzhny. Liberopoulos, a little impetuous. Vasilis Daniel watching, must be happy enough with the performance under the circumstances. Dynamo Kyiv, who made a sluggish start to this campaign, only to finally hit form in the last couple of matches. Getting a 1-1 draw at Wembley Stadium against Arsenal and then beating Arsenal 3-1 at home. Who has turned the group on its head. Lagonikakis. Here's Varjiha. Shielding it so well. No support really for Varjiha. Dimitrulin followed him all the way, Janusz.
A very, very smart play by Varjiha. As you said, he saw no support. He didn't force the ball. He didn't want to go down the line and crosses. There's nobody there. So he did a very smart thing. Held on to the ball and came back.
Diving save by Shevkovsky. That was Konstantinidis who played it in from the flank. So worrying times these for Dynamo Kyiv. They made most of the early running, created most of the early chances, but find themselves one goal in arrears.
Shevkovsky, they're trying to stay warm. He hasn't seen a lot of shots today, only 2, and one of them went in, and that's a big concern for him. Obviously, he doesn't want to see this many shots. He wants his team to be in possession of the ball, but a lot of times you have to stay involved, especially in these conditions.
Hussein, and it comes to the goal scorer, Andreas Lagonikakis. What a fine job he has done in this match, going up and down the flank. We said Lagonikakis normally would play on the left, with Kyiv on the right. That may have surprised us, and I think Dynamo Kyiv as well, by switching roles. Kyiv looking for options. And straight down the throat of Josef Vanjik. This first half ebbing away now.
Well, certainly for Dynamo Kyiv, the attack on the left side is not working. Kosovsky should be there, but we have seen him on the right side more than on the left side. They're switching with Kardash, and I think they're going to have to address that at halftime. Because so far, the right side is working very well for Dynamo Kyiv, but as we said, they're predictable, and I think they need a little bit more from the left side just to keep this Panathinaikos defense off balance.
There's Kosovsky back on the left for the moment. Hussein getting the feed from Rebrov. Andriy Hussein. And the long-range attempt doesn't pay dividends.
Certainly didn't, but Hussein obviously going forward, taking a little bit of shots. As we see the temperatures here, -2 Celsius. That is really cold, Derek.
There's no doubt about that, and it's not going to get any warmer. Kosovsky beaten to the punch by the slippery Lagonikakis, and then Kosovsky has already been booked. Committed the foul. Looks like we'll have a couple of minutes of stoppage time in this first half. This has been a very good 15-minute spell for Losa Asanovic and his teammates. Watch it again here. Kosovsky going in.
Kosovsky not really happy with this decision, and I can see why. I thought he got the ball first. Obviously, then one of the midfielders fell down, but I thought it was a pretty good tackle.
Luzhny. Away they go this time. Kardash with Shevchenko farther forward. It's Kardash. Bounced off Kyiv. Panathinaikos. And the whistle of referee Helmut Krug means a free kick to Dynamo Kyiv. Konstantinidis was the offender that time. Inside stoppage time of the first half. Vasil Kardash. Now Kosovsky. Katskevich. And looking for Shevchenko, who had taken up position on the edge of the penalty area. Kostas Kyiv. Golovko. Not a very short touch. Hasn't been the best first half we've ever seen from Alexander Golovko. It's a little negligent when you think back to that one goal that was scored. Failure to clear his lines. Decisive play by Alexander Shovkovsky. 1 minute into stoppage time. We've been promised 2 in total. Kosovsky. Trying to loop it down for Kardash to go after. Kardash will settle for the throw. And let Kosovsky take it. Dimitrulin. Trying to catch the defense flat-footed. Dimitrulin. We've seen too many attempts like that from Dynamo Kyiv in this first half.
Well, it's probably the first time we saw Dimitrulin really get involved in the offense. As you saw, Shevchenko never gives up on the ball. This is a curling ball to the far post. Look at Shevchenko, always sniffing around the box.
That might be the final attempt for Valery Lobanovsky and company in this first half of play. Freezing conditions here in Kyiv. But this score will no doubt warm the hearts of Panathinaikos fans everywhere. They lead 1-0. They've played 2 minutes of stoppage time. And referee Helmut Krug decides enough is enough. The players will rush back to the warmth of the dressing rooms. That goal by Andreas Lagonikakis for Panathinaikos divides the teams. It's match day 5 in the UEFA Champions League, and we're concerned with Group A-E tonight. Here on ESPN, Derek Ray, Janusz Mihalik. And it will be Panathinaikos to get the second half underway. Let's take a look at match day 6, the decisive match day, December 9. Dynamo Kyiv will travel to France, while Panathinaikos will host Arsenal.
And that's why this is a very important game. If Dynamo Kyiv wins here, it will set up a huge game against RC Lens. For Panathinaikos, obviously they're going to be playing Arsenal, which is out of it by now, but it still will be a very difficult game.
So Panathinaikos and the white shirts attacking the goal to our left here in the second half. They lead 1-0 thanks to Lagonikakis in the 36th minute. Now we will find out exactly what Dynamo Kyiv are made of. They need a victory to stay very much in pole position to make it to the quarterfinals. Apostolakis goes down, wins the free kick. 34 years of age, Stratos Apostolakis.
Apostolakis a little bit off balance here as we see him getting clipped from behind.
And the man who committed the foul was the substitute who has just come into the match, Valentin Bialkevich, second member of the Belarus contingent, and he has replaced Kosovsky. As you mentioned, Janusz, Kosovsky had a hard time of it in the first half. Let's see if Bialkevich can make a difference. Here he is. And certainly putting Vokolos to the test, and he wins the corner.
Well, it's certainly a very good sub right away. He's showing that he wants to play. That left side did not work well for Dynamo Kyiv. Kosovsky really spending most time on the right side, and that's why the change.
25 years of age, the 1995 Belarus Player of the Year, Bialkevich. It's a wayward corner. Katskevich, also from Belarus. Varziha. Couldn't get too much service in the first half. Krzysztof Varziha. Luzhny. Here's the dashing Kardash with Shevchenko beside him. Bialkevich in the middle. Vanchik read it very well indeed.
Vanjik really stood his ground, waited for Shevchenko to come in. That's why he's a very good keeper. He's very experienced. As we see this one more time, a little bit, the touch failed him just a little bit. And look at Vanjik charging out.
Brave goalkeeping by Josef Vanjik. We've been playing for 2 minutes in the second half. And this is the scene here at the Olympijski Stadium in Kyiv. Dynamo Kyiv 0, Panathinaikos 1. Dynamo Kyiv have a perfect record against Greek opposition at home. 3 wins, no draws and no defeats. Kyiv, a revelation in the first half. It was his cross that set up the goal for Panathinaikos. Katskevich, Bialkiewicz, now Hussein turning away from Konstantinidis. Mitrulin joining the attack. There's Hussein. Marjiha, foiled by Alexander Horovko. Very tense times for the Panathinaikos coaches. Panathinaikos.
Команді «Динамо» заміна. Замість Віталія Косовського, номер 9, грає Валентин Белькевич, номер 24.
Stadium announcer here just confirming that substitution that we mentioned a couple of minutes ago. Bialkiewicz in for Kosovski. You see that sharpens up the midfield for Dynamo Kyiv.
It certainly should, but this is the bigger problem for Dynamo Kyiv is that they're playing positional attack. Look at Panathinaikos. They have 8, 9, or even 10 players behind the ball, and they have to draw them out somehow. I think for Dynamo Kyiv, the way they like to play the transitional game. They're so fast. They like to come out of their back and go a little bit on counterattacks, even though they're playing at home. But Panathinaikos, they're staying with so many players in the penalty box. It really gives no room to Shevchenko and Rebrov to use their speed.
See if Rebrov can establish himself. There's Kardash. Bustling midfielder. Kardash looking for options wide on the left. Bialkiewicz has come into the move. Hussein. Here's Luzhny, the captain. It's very dangerous when going forward with authority on the right flank. Dynamo Kyiv looking for the free kick. They'll get it. Kyiv, the offender. Stony-faced up in the director's box. Rebrov trying to take the game to the Panathinaikos rearguard players. The fans still very much believing in the cause. This could be a decisive moment for them. Sanovich in the wall, beside Alexopoulos. Shevchenko stands over this free kick for Dynamo Kyiv. 5 minutes into the second half. It's Shevchenko and into the wall. And then blasted high. The fans leaving their seats for a moment, thinking that might have been the equalizer. Not so.
Not certainly. Here we see him hitting the ball. There's a rebound. They get 2 shots at it. Obviously, this one, they would have liked to have that one back again. But set piece is so important. I think this might be the only way for Dynamo Kyiv to score today. We'll obviously see what happens. But especially in the tough, on the tough ground like this, when you get corner kicks and free kicks 18 yards away from the goal, you have to do it better than that.
Katskevich, and here's Luzhny. Oh, beautiful turn. Luzhny, the captain! And oh my goodness! Somehow Vanjik got his leg to the ball and rescued the situation for Panathinaikos.
And Vanjik saves the day here. As we saw that ball being deflected, obviously Vanjik didn't see that coming, but still somehow, as we see this here, look at that shot, gets deflected. Vanjik leaning the other way, but still saves the day.
It's Luzhny again. This is what he does so effectively. Horovko all the way back to Alexander Shovkovsky.
He just wants to keep Shovkovsky in the game a little bit. As we said, he's a little bit cold, just gives him a touch there.
Hussein's pass. Katskevich. Vokolos just got his head to the ball in the nick of time. Panathinaikos trying to turn defense into attack. Bassinas robbed by Luzhny, and Hussein is there. Andriy Hussein has a good shot on him. Blocked away by Alexopoulos. Second crack at it for Hussein. Rebrov fights for the ball. Rebrov! It's in the net, but it won't count. To the chagrin of Serhii Rebrov. A couple of players made late runs. There appeared to be an offside flag.
Yeah, certainly Rebrov finally gets loose. We haven't seen him, as you said, at all in the first half. This time somebody must have. I wish we could see this one more time, but there's probably one or two players in the offside position when he was taking the shot.
Well, the referee, Helmut Krug, was right on the spot.
Well, as we see it here one more time, look at Rebrov, an individual effort as he hits this ball here. Once again, we don't see, but yet there was a probably player or two in the offside position.
So it remains 1-0 Panathinaikos. But it's been a blistering start to the second half from Dynamo Kyiv.
Very dangerous situation for Panathinaikos. They can't afford to stop playing right now.
There's Vokolos, the big boot. Hatskevich becoming more and more a factor in the center of midfield. Hatskevich kicked it too far forward for his own good. Kardash. And appeals by the Panathinaikos players. There was an infringement. And a foul play on the edge of the penalty area. And the referee, Helmut Krug, agrees. Free kick to Panathinaikos.
There's certainly a foul there. The two Dynamo Kyiv players ready to pounce on that ball. If it wasn't for a little bit of pushing, they would have had a chance. As we see this here one more time.
You see both players going for the ball. Shevchenko in the thick of the action. 9 minutes into the second half. Biankovic certainly has provided a spark since coming off the bench. Now the turn of Panathinaikos to go forward. Shavkovsky. Luzhny. Kardash just in front. Shevchenko controls so well despite all the tackles coming in around him. Andriy Hussein. Very tightly packed Panathinaikos defense. Might want to guard against dropping too many players back though, Janusz.
Well, certainly they're playing a little bit desperate right now, and it's way too early in the second half to play like that. They need to keep possession if possible, just the same way they did in the first half. Right now we see Dynamo Kyiv coming in waves, and Panathinaikos just kicking the ball, not trying to keep possession of it.
Hatskevich. Hussein. Still 1-0. A goal by Lagonikakis. Andriy Hussein again. Like Shevchenko has been linked with a move to Serie A. Konstantinidis with the trip. Well, controversy here because of what happened a couple of minutes ago.
Once again, as we see this shot, we see 2 or 3 players being in an offside position, and a very good call by the referee.
Serhii Rebrov with the free kick for Dynamo Kyiv. Might come back. Holovko, a blistering drive. Liberopoulos had a couple of good efforts in the first half. That one full-blooded volley comes to mind. Another note for viewers in Latin America only. Join us for Goal ESPN Weekend on Sunday, right here on ESPN. 90 minutes of fast-paced action. Complete roundup of everything that's happened in the world's top leagues. Luzhny. Hatskevich. And straight down the throat of Vanchik. Soaring clearance into the night sky. Extremely cold night it is here in Kyiv. Temperature dropping to about -3. Kiasos. He's got away from his man. Luzhny. Kadash. Bialkovic with Shevchenko to the left. Andriy Shevchenko fighting to win the corner kick. He gets it. A lot of nervous-looking Dynamo Kyiv fans, anxious for their team to equalize. Vanchik waits. Rebrov with it. Asanovic with a header at the near post. Chase for Serhiy Rebrov. And Rebrov from long distance. Not sure whether Vanchik would have seen it. Shevchenko as well beside Rebrov.
Rebrov trying his luck once again. We saw it just before where his goal was disallowed. Once again, he decides to take a shot. This was pretty far away.
Rebrov pot shot. He tries to add to his total, which stands at 3 in the Champions League this season. A biting play by Konstantinidis. Dimitrulin with the clearance for Dynamo Kyiv. And Dimitrulin is the man down. And very effectively at left full-back. The absence of Vladislav Vaschuk, who's suspended.
Certainly didn't make many mistakes, although you have to go back to that goal where obviously it came from the right side. He was pinched in very deep into the middle. I don't know if it was necessarily his goal, but certainly he has been playing well.
So I think that deep run by Panathinaikos took them all by surprise. And still, that is the goal that separates the sides, with now 14 minutes on the clock in the second half. Match day 5 of the Champions League. This is Group E. Dynamo Kyiv 0, Panathinaikos 1. Referee gives free kick to the Greek side. They've won 18 championships domestically. Konstantinidis taking the fall. Iberopoulos. And Hussein let it trickle through. Dynamo Kyiv also managed 18 championships if you add together the Soviet titles, 13, and the 5 Ukrainian championships they've won since independence. 5 in a row for that matter. Have to credit the Czechs, though, for bringing football to this part of the world. Czech engineers responsible for that back in 1900. See, possession-wise here, Dynamo Kyiv well ahead. Not a big surprise.
Not really, and as we see this in the second half, a lot more urgency from Dynamo Kyiv. They're a lot more aggressive than Panathinaikos is right now. Obviously, they're losing, so they need to get some goals here. But I think Panathinaikos is falling in a dangerous trap right now. They're just trying to defend this, and they need to be more aggressive. You need Asanovic to hold on to the ball, put his foot on it, and try to play a little bit.
Vanchik. And looking for the run to be made by Luzhny. Tapped out by Kiasos. And now is switched to the left again. It comes out to Shevchenko. Asanovic struggling to stay on his feet. See if he can do what Janusz talked about. Oh, hemmed in right beside the touchline. He's having a lot of difficulty creating space for himself.
Well, certainly he's not happy with his teammates as well. Obviously, he needs support. What's happening is Panathinaikos playing so deep that once they do win the ball, they have to cover so much ground just to go forward into their offensive third. So I think right now they need to come out a little bit quicker when their players have the ball and give him some options.
Iberopoulos runs out of space this time. The orange ball used tonight for this Champions League match. The pitch is holding up remarkably well under the circumstances. Well, tribute to the ground staff here. Olofko. Dimitrulin. Wasn't the best first touch. Hence the late challenge. And this will mean a yellow card. Panathinaikos, who scored the goal, becomes the first Panathinaikos player to be booked.
Certainly Lagonikakis with a very late tackle, a mistimed tackle, certainly a yellow card. I'm sure he was going for a ball, but never got anywhere near it. As you see it here one more time, look at this tackle, going for the ball, not coming even close to it. He's lucky it's only a yellow card.
And that is his first of the competition, so no suspension questions there. Asanovic, Apostolakis, Liberopoulos and Blendar Kola, the Albanian substitute, are the four players for Panathinaikos on the yellow card bubble. Now this is better. Luzhny released again. Oleg Luzhny. Can they finish it off? Away by Apostolakis.
Derek, certainly a Luzhny, for my money, is the man of the match so far for both teams. He's very active on the right side. All the danger comes from him. As we saw this cross just before that, that certainly could have been a goal.
Here it is again by Luzhny. Just a little bit behind Rebrov. And a bit of pushing maybe. Well, the referee let it go and away by Apostolakis. Valery Lobanovsky watching from his position on the bench. Another intriguing free kick possibility here for Andriy Shevchenko. 18 minutes into the second half. Dynamo Kyiv trail 1-0. Shevchenko not entirely happy with the positioning of the wall. Now he's satisfied. Five players in the wall for Panathinaikos. Lagonikakis on the end. It's Shevchenko with a bullet. Second time of asking by Shevchenko. Vokolos with the clearance. And out of play it goes. Apostolakis attending to Fedorov. Serhiy Fedorov, the emergency starter. Mainly because of the suspension to Vasyuk. And he'll limp his way. Appears back up onto his feet. And Shevchenko made the late run. Rebrov. Actually, it was Kardash who got in behind the defense. Rebrov laid it on a plate for him.
Got to give Kardash a lot of credit to stay with this ball in these conditions. Vanjic once again comes up big for Panathinaikos. You see this one more time. A very good ball over the defenders. Look at Vanjic come out and just block the ball with his foot.
Several times we've seen Kardash make those incisive late runs, getting behind the defenders.
He has been very active, Kardash, especially in the first half on the right side. We see him now a little bit on the right, a little bit on the left. I think they're trying to create some chaos and make these Panathinaikos defenders move.
The tide is turning, no doubt about that. Shevchenko draws out the free kick. Remains 1-0 Panathinaikos. And they would surely have settled for that before a ball was kicked. Bone-chilling weather here in Kyiv. The sort of thing the Panathinaikos players are accustomed to. But as we check our scoreboard, we see that it remains 1-0 because of Lagonikakis. And his superb bit of finishing in the 36th minute. The fans here at the Olympijski Stadium trying to play the role of extra man. Usi. Bialkovic is involved. And the free kick is given. Rebrov going down. Let's see if Shevchenko has a go once more. Katskiewicz beside. Whenever Shevchenko marches in, you tend to assume that he'll be the player given the nod.
Right, he had a chance twice already, once on the right side, once on the left, and he hit the ball into the wall. So we'll see what happens now. Let's see if he's going to take it.
No, it'll be Katskiewicz. Fooling everyone. Came off Kiasos last of all. And Luzhny in position to take the throw. Kardash linking up very well with Luzhny on the right now. Kardash winning the corner kick. Midway point of the second half. 1-0 Panathinaikos. Rebrov. There's Bialkiewicz and Hussein. Well, not his best efforts. He's been threatening to let fly from that sort of position 3 or 4 times in this game, Andrei Hussein.
He certainly was, and this time he saw some room, but you got to give credit to the Panathinaikos defense. There was a challenge going, and perhaps just enough pressure to make him miss.
Panathinaikos formed in 1908, actually as Pan-Hellenic by a group of English gentlemen who said adopted the shamrock on their shirts in recognition of their foreign roots. I'm not sure if anyone has pointed out that they got their countries muddled up a little bit.
Well, the English will take credit for soccer anywhere they go.
Yes, indeed, shamrock or not. Now Bialkiewicz had a positive difference since coming off the bench. Maliansin, to give him his full name. Hussein in the middle, and Vanjik using all his experience. Really has had a tremendous match.
He certainly has. Vanjik's been playing very well so far. He's reading the plays very well. He comes out when he has to, and he showed us why he was, he's been capped 50 times for Poland.
Have to be careful over on that far side of the field in that very icy area. Luzhny. Janusz Sad, one of the stars of the show for Dynamo Kyiv, but they trail 1-0. Shavkovsky. Fedorov. His central defensive partner is Holovko. Dimitrulin at left back.
That defense has been playing very well for Dynamo Kyiv, even though they haven't been really busy. With the exception of that one mistake, they've done what they were asked to do, and now they have a chance to move forward a little bit as we see Dynamo Kyiv moving 8 or 9 players into their offensive third.
Jackiewicz, the central midfield anchor. Rebrov, well read by Basinas. I think has performed admirably under difficult circumstances for Panathinaikos. Basinas, not a first-team regular. Injuries to Gumas and Milojevic. Forcing the hand of Vasilis Daniel. Appeals for a free kick just inches from the penalty area. And it's given by Helmut Krug.
Certainly here, I see a little bit of an abstractions right here. They try to force a penalty kick on the referee. Referee was right there, saw it. The ball was outside of the box.
Mokolos was the offender. Inside the final 20-minute spell. This is sheer tension. Agonikakis beside Apostolakis in the wall. Rebrov and Shevchenko together. For Dynamo Kyiv, it's Rebrov. Bounces back to Shevchenko. Misses out Hussein. Oleg Luzhny. Now Hussein. Andrei Hussein. Many of the fans unmoved by that. That was the attempted Hussein special.
Well, certainly, as you see the shot, we saw Hussein taking the shot 2 or 3 times before. Now he's trying again. It's always good to take shots, but obviously this was a little bit too far.
Dynamo Kyiv trying to wear down Panathinaikos. They trail 1-0. Hussein being followed all the way by Osanovic. Resigned to being really a defensive force in this game, the Croatian. Aljosa Osanovic now. All hands on deck for Panathinaikos. Jackiewicz. Bit of bumping and barging. Kardash. Free kick. Apostolakis. I'll give it away badly. Now the chance is on. And this could be the opportunity. Rebrov. 1-1. The prince of Ukrainian poachers has leveled this game.
Derek, certainly we have not heard much from Rebrov. He finally scored his goal. That's what it takes for a talented forward like he is. As you said, Apostolakis guilty of a bad pass. As we see this cross here over the defenders, and look at him run onto it, and Vanjik really left with no chance.
That was Bialkovic with the perfect cross.
М'яч забив.
And Rebrov with the finish, his fourth goal in the Champions League this season.
And Rebrov, just a lethal finish, as you see it here. Bialkovic coming in the second half, doing a very good job, crossing this ball over the top, over the defenders. Something that we've talked about that needed to happen for this Dynamo Kyiv team. They needed to be a little bit more direct and make their runs.
One apiece. Back to the drawing board for Panathinaikos. But this is a Dynamo Kyiv side now. Extremely fired up. The self-belief is back. It's been a strong second half for them. Now they must surely be thinking about finishing off Panathinaikos for good. But for the moment, it's Liberopoulos. Lagonikakis. And Shavkovsky, right quickly off his line, urging his players forward. The fans cheering and singing in tune to the rhythm of Serhii Rebrov and Dynamo Kyiv. "16 minutes left. Hussein. And all the way through for the goal kick. Italian Serie A football comes your way live on Sunday here on ESPN. Our match will see Parma take on AC Milan, two of the big guns. Check your local listings for the drama and passion of Serie A right here on ESPN. Well, if drama and passion and tension is what you're looking for, this is the place to be.
Certainly is, and you could see that coming, really. The momentum has always been on the Dynamo Kyiv side, but I think Panathinaikos has stopped playing.
And balloons high over the top, wide as well. As Rebrov tried to make his way forward. Very nervous looking Vasilis Daniel. Okolos, the clearance, here's your scoreboard. Lagonikakis with the 36-minute goal, beautifully taken. But then Rebrov from close range after Bialkovic had done the donkey work, making it 1-1. Hussein to the punch that time. And a fair amount of defensive work, Andriy Hussein, in addition to going forward.
Well, certainly much better second half for him as well. Not only is he playing defensive midfielder very well, but he's starting some of the attack for this Dynamo Kyiv team, and he's been heavily involved in the offense. So certainly a big change from the first half, where I thought Hussein did not get involved as much.
Less than 15 minutes to go. Can Dynamo Kyiv push it home? Bialkovic wants the throw. Came off Konstantinidis last of all. And it will be Luzhny to take it. Panathinaikos getting reinforcements ready. See the Brazilian Mauro preparing for action. There's a Vanjik. What a fine match he has had for Panathinaikos. Couldn't do much about the goal scored by Rebrov. Bialkovic. And the whistle sounded. Referee Helmut Krug. Dangerous play. And the free kick is awarded to Dynamo Kyiv. A delayed reaction from this huge crowd. Looks as though it's in excess of 40,000. A this bitterly cold night. There's Blendan Kola, the Albanian, getting ready to come in. The referee will force them to take it again. Fourth official, Hans-Jürgen Weber, just talking it over with the Panathinaikos coaching staff. 13 minutes to go. Milkovic this time. And Fedorov up helping the attack as well, but through it goes. Will be a Panathinaikos ball, and now they should be able to get Kola into the game. He said from Albania, played against Greece last week in the Euro 2000 qualifying competition, a 0-0 draw. And out is coming the veteran Stratos Apostolakis, who has run his legs off.
He certainly has, but Apostolakis, the guilty party in that tying goal. I thought, as you said, not clearing the ball properly. That's where Dynamo Kyiv went down that side and were able to score the goal.
Milkovic taking Konstantinidis for a ride. Away by Alexopoulos.
У команді Panathinaikos
Rebrov.
заміна. Замість Страстаса.
Now here's Kola, the substitute.
Apostolakis, номер 2.
Great cultured midfielder and a good-looking ball.
Blendan Kola.
And it wouldn't quite fall for Krzysztof Warzycha. Perhaps a quiet game by his own high standards.
He certainly has. We haven't seen him, but we haven't really seen the Panathinaikos offense today. They've been content to play defensively, especially after they scored the first goal. They just set back, and a lot of times if you don't have the service, it's very difficult to play for you if you're forward, and that goes for Warzycha.
Ganskevic. Luzhny. Could he be the key that unlocks the door to victory? He'll get a corner kick here. It came off Basinas. Vanjik shouts out the instructions. Look at that advantage. 10 corner kicks to 2 in favor of Dynamo Kyiv. And the Rebrov will take this one. And it comes. And oh, it's in! That's an own goal! I think it came off Basinas. Well, at the risk of overstating things, that was a Greek tragedy. Basinas with the own goal came off him after the initial kick by Kyiv.
Oh my goodness, as we see this corner kick, obviously Dynamo Kyiv, the better team, they probably deserve the goal. But look at this, Kyiv kicks the ball right into Basinas, and Vanjik can just look at it going into the net.
No pressure from Dynamo Kyiv at all.
It certainly wasn't. As we see this one more time, look at this. I mean, it looks like a simple clearance. Basinas really ran to the ball. A little bit miscommunication. They weren't sure who's supposed to take this ball, but Kyiv certainly faces the ball. It should have been his.
Off Basinas, an own goal. The Dynamo Kyiv players celebrate. And after a whirlwind 8-minute spell, it's 2-1 Dynamo Kyiv. And now Panathinaikos left chasing this game.
Well, certainly, and really unfortunate for Basinas, who came into this game not normally a starter, has played a very decent game, and obviously if this score stays, he's going to be remembered for that, and that's very unfortunate for him.
Well, what a turnaround here at the Olimpiski Stadium. The question is, what do Panathinaikos have left? They've spent much of this game sucking up pressure. Not especially interested in testing out the Dynamo Kyiv defense. Now they will have to, or face the consequences. And a win for Dynamo Kyiv here would see them equal Racing Club de Lens on points. Well, Kola's down, the Albanian who came off the bench moments ago. Something very gingerly would have to be said. Kola. Liberopoulos. Warzycha with his back to goal, getting no change out of the Dynamo Kyiv defense. Holovko. Here's Bialkovic, the storming substitute, the man from Belarus. And was he pushed? Right on the edge of the penalty area, yes, by Basinas. It's all falling apart for Angelos Basinas now.
Well, he's certainly frustrated. Great run by Bialkovic. That was a great substitution in the second half. He certainly opened up that left side. Look at this here. It's going in. Panathinaikos really lucky that this wasn't a penalty kick. It was certainly a very close call.
Referee ruling that it was just inches from the box. This is the third or fourth free kick we've seen for Shevchenko in this sort of position.
Let's hope that he's going to do much better than he's done in the past, as we saw these balls going into the wall.
Andriy Shevchenko, and Vanchik went down low. And how on earth did that stay out?
Certainly, what a much better free kick from Shevchenko. Really hit a bounce, picked up speed on the way and hit the post. Very lucky for Panathinaikos and Vanji.
Off the woodwork. Watch it again.
Once again, that hop just before Vanji. I think he might have gotten a touch on that, but certainly the woodwork has helped him.
Well, surely that would have settled the issue. Third goal for Dynamo Kyiv. As it is, it remains 2-1, and the door is still ajar for Panathinaikos.
Still ajar, but not much in this case. You certainly have to say that Dynamo Kyiv, much better team. They deserve the lead, and they probably deserve the win. But you never know. There's still some time left.
Panathinaikos, a poorly taken free kick. This is right up Rebrov's street. Rebrov, who scored the equalising goal. Typical Rebrov finish from close range. Liberopoulos. Looked like a foul. No, says the referee. Because though Dimitrulin was guilty of foul play. Italian Serie A action on Sunday. Our live coverage will hail from Rome. The Rome derby at the Stadio Olimpico. Lazio against AS Roma. Roma flying high at the table. Lazio the big spenders. Serie A going into the season. Well, this has been thoroughly enjoyable. Every minute of this exacting contest. And Dynamo Kyiv finally with the lead after trailing for so long. The home crowd cheering them on to what they hope will be a share of first place in Group E. I mentioned that Mauro was limbering up earlier. Here he is. The Brazilian will come into the game. 20 years of age. Spent most of his career in the lower divisions in Belgium and Switzerland. Began with Caxias do Sul in Brazil, and he has replaced Chiassos. Good score at Wembley Stadium against Arsenal. The 2-1 defeat. So striker for a defender. Serving notice of Panathinaikos' intentions now. 5 minutes left.
Certainly that substitution makes sense. Chiassos, I thought, had a very good game, considering that he had to go against Kardash and Luzhny, who really worked him on that side, but he got involved offensively. We saw that on the goal for Panathinaikos. Unfortunately, he was the part of that own goal play which gave Dynamo Kyiv the lead.
Free kick against Rebrov. And then butchered in the end by Panathinaikos. Losing their rhythm. Dimitrulin with the throw. Happy to take it. With just over 4 minutes left. Hussein. This is Dimitrulin. Hussein again. Dimitrulin. Measured feed. Bialkovic making the run down the left. The flag was raised. Panathinaikos. Memories of his goal in the 36th minute fading now for Panathinaikos. Unless they can produce something magical in the closing minutes. They try to whip it in, and oh, Shevkovsky in trouble. The defense bails him out. On off go. Konstantinidis. agonizingly close. Well, a rare mistake before that by Alexander Shavkovsky.
Well, certainly he wasn't sure on that cross, and as we said, he hasn't had much to do. I don't know how much that was a part of this play, but certainly looked like a very easy cross that he should be able to handle very easily. The ball got away from him, but as you said, the defense played well and were able to clear that ball.
It's a good cross initially by the Albanian Blendar Kola.
Certainly he did well just saving that ball. That ball was going out of bounds. He was able to cross in with his left foot, but I still feel Shavkovsky on any other day would have been able to catch that ball.
Strong performance by Vasil Kardash. He will leave the game, replaced by Dmitro Mikhailenko, 25 years of age. He's played 21 times for the national team of the Ukraine.
У команді
Once again,
Dynamo
we see this here, the Dynamo Kyiv defense coming really close, clearing that ball, and Olympiacos, this is probably their best chance since they scored a goal.
Panathinaikos trailing 2-1 with just over 2 minutes left. There's Mikhailenko. First piece of activity for him. There's a somewhat agricultural-looking challenge. Panathinaikos will take the free kick. Well, this is Champions League drama at its absolute best. Superb theatre. Panathinaikos. They come back out. A shot by Vargiha. Kept in by Mauro, the Brazilian. Corner kick. They're still alive. And it will be Blendar Kola to take it. Watch for the outswinger. Left boot of his. Now panic in the center of the defense. And somehow Shavkovsky goes down to make the catch. Well, all of a sudden the Dynamo Kyiv defense getting ripped apart.
Certainly Shavkovsky once again slow to react, particularly on this ball before what we just saw. But I think where was this for Panathinaikos when obviously when they were still leading 1-0, 1-1. I think this is just a state of mind. A lot of times you get ahead, you try to hold on to the score, but they're showing us in the last 4 or 5 minutes that they could play. If they had done that, 10, 15 minutes ago, I think they still would have been on top.
They trail 2-1. 2 goals at 8 minutes for Dynamo Kyiv. As we approach stoppage time, stay with us for our Champions League post-match wrap here on ESPN. We'll sum up this Group E match for you. Update you on all the other happenings. Kola. Well, they're still giving this a real go, the Panathinaikos players. Kola with the throw. Appealing for the free kick, which he will get. 2 minutes of stoppage time, as we had in the first half. So it will be in the second. Kola strikes it.
За рішенням арбітра тайм продовжується на 2 хвилини.
Trying to find the Albanian again on the flank. No defense to speak of now, though. And Vanjic. Oh, that's experience for you. Sensed the danger, came all the way out of his area. Well, whether Panathinaikos lose or draw at this stage, I think Vanjic deserves a lot of credit.
Certainly does. As we saw here, still in the game, he's very aware, came out, really perhaps saved the third goal. I think for Panathinaikos, obviously they have to send some numbers forward, and that's what happened. That's why they got caught in transition.
Hasanovic. Almost 1 minute into stoppage time. So seconds tick away. So the cheers get louder and louder here at the Olympijski Stadium in Kyiv. An unlikely victory in the end, given the circumstances of this game. Dynamo falling behind in the 36 minutes, but now they're going for goal number 3. And they almost had it that time. Once again, Bialkovic heavily involved in the build-up and the final attempt, but Vanjic is solid as a rock. They're preparing for victory.
Once again, we see a 1-2 play. Really, they had a little bit of time as we see this Panathinaikos defense a little bit rattled, but Vanjic once again comes up big.
We've played the 2 minutes and stoppage time now. All eyes on the German referee, Helmut Krug. There goes the final whistle. A dramatic victory for Dynamo Kyiv. They came from behind in spectacular fashion. Rebrov with the equalizer. And then that painful own goal that goes against Basinas of Panathinaikos. It counted for Dynamo Kyiv, making the final score 2-1 on this freezing night here in the Ukraine. Rejoin us in just a moment here on ESPN.